I want to also pay my my friend Mr. Cole a compliment. We've worked together for a long time on a lot of issues. Sometimes we're in agreement, sometimes we're not. But even when we're not in agreement, the discussion up here is actually, the way it should be, respectful of one another. And when it comes to these issues, there's nobody who is more dedicated and more of an advocate than he is. And so it really is a privilege and honor to serve with him. He's a really good friend. And I appreciate, I want to echo what he said. I want to thank the panelists. You were excellent. And, we do a lot of hearings. We sit through a lot of hearings. Some hearings are like not particularly useful because nobody ever answers the questions. You all answered the questions, and they were tough questions that we were being asked before this hearing. I think you have, set the record straight. And this is where I kind of come down on this. I personally believe that Delegate Teehee ought to be. I think this is the right thing to do. As I study this issue, I believe it's the right thing to do. It's the moral thing to do. And for a lot of the reasons, Chief, that you have highlighted in your testimony. And so we got to find a way to get this done. And there's some complications here. Mr. Raskin raised some issues. Our colleagues have raised some issues, but they're not so complicated they can't be worked out, right? I mean, this is stuff that we can work it out and to get to a point where everybody, I think, feels relatively comfortable. And so I think we have to figure out how fast we can move, and that depends on, quite frankly, a consensus of this body. Do we have the votes to do this? And we're going to have to, and we want to do this in a bipartisan way because this is not these issues should not be partisan. And so we have to figure this out. We're going to have to reach out to some of the other committees of jurisdiction to get their input on some of this stuff. But I don't want that to be an excuse to 5 years down the road we have another meeting and you're like, what happened? I mean, this can and should be done as quickly as possible. I mean, that is my view. Look, the history of this country is a history of broken promise after broken promise to Native American communities. This cannot be another broken promise. And so you have my word, and I'm sure I speak for my friend Mr. Cole as well, that we're going to continue to work with you and to figure out a way to get to the finish line here. And I don't know what's going to happen in our elections. I may not be chair of this committee, next year, or maybe a miracle will happen and I will still be. Who knows? But if he is, you're in good hands. But it shouldn't matter. I mean, I think we're at the tone of this hearing today was such that this is not a partisan issue at all. I should also add the delegates don't get to vote on speaker either. So that's the other thing. So there's nobody should be.
Might get faster action if it is.
Right. But I guess my view at this point is that you could pursue two avenues here. One is a simple resolution to change the rules to seat a delegate as soon as possible, even though that's subject to renewal every 2 years. But at the same time, you can pursue a longer-term statute so that no longer is the case. But whatever it is, I mean, we got to figure out a way to move this quickly. So I want to thank all of our witnesses for being here today and for sharing your expertise. I want to thank all the members of this committee who participated in this productive conversation. And I look forward to seeing what comes next. So without objections, the Rules Committee stands adjourned.